Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of This Tree and Me. And have you ever thought about why you do things? Have you ever thought about what you're wanting to get out of a situation? Or if you make a comment, what you are trying to invoke out of somebody else or get your point across? Or have you ever just thought why you say or do the things that you do? Or why am I meditating? Or why am I trying to change jobs? Or why do I want to start X? I believe we've all had those questions. How we question ourselves and what we get out of that is going to be different for everybody. But if you have had those questions and you're currently having those questions or asking yourself or finding, maybe you're asking that of others, like, why are they asking me that? What are they doing here? Or however you want to look at that. What are your intentions? What is somebody else's intentions? But as we all know, we have no power, no say, no control, no true understanding of anybody else's intentions but ours. So let's talk about intentions today. And we're going to just kind of have a conversation a little bit about the weekend. But the main topic is going to be about intentions and being intentional with the things that you do and what you decide to put yourself into, and your words, your actions, your decisions. So I said the only ones that we can control and understand and things like that is ours, but do we ever listen to them? And ever may not be the right word. Do we often listen to them? Do we actually sit with our intentions ahead of time and really think and be thoughtful and listen to the answers of, why am I doing this? What do I want to get out of this? What is my goal? And how do I get there? It's intentions. But I would assume, just like for myself, for most of my life, I didn't look at intentions very thoroughly, one. And two, it was only in reflection for the most part to where I looked at intentions of maybe after a conversation, and typically it was always pointed externally. Why did they ask me that? What are they trying to get at? What do they want to know? Or if the conversation, maybe went bad or something like that, is like, okay, man. And it might have been a statement of, why did you do that? What was what are you trying to do, man? You might ask yourself that, and definitely I believe that we've all asked that of others to ourselves. Why can't we ask others what their intentions are? Why can't we just come out and look them in the eye and say, hey, what are you getting at? What's your intentions? In a curious way, not in the way that I think that we all typically have done it or do it, which is, man, what do you want? What are you trying to get out here, man? And make a joke out of it, or kind of lightheartedly poke a little bit at it because you think that their intentions are poor. And as almost always in all things, when we see something in others that frustrates us or makes us think differently or judgy about said person or said event, it's a reflection. It doesn't mean that is not their intention or whatever you're trying to understand in that situation, but it's still a mirror, and you are seeing that from how you are perceiving yourself, and like you feel that, oh, I've asked that of people before, and I was trying to get something out of them. I was trying to trick them, or I wanted to get the lowdown on some gossip or whatever it is. It's the intention that creates a good decision or a bad decision. It's the intention that creates the space that is healthy or unhealthy. It's the intention. If you look at it ahead of time and go into a conversation, an event, a idea, a goal setting opportunity that you're looking to get into, whatever it may be, if you go into it with intention, that's a whole different ballgame than looking retrospectively and saying, man, what were they trying to get out of that? Or questioning yourself, why did I do that? What the hell was I thinking? If you simply would have went into that situation or whatever it is with good intentions, or at least understanding your intentions, yes, I wouldn't suggest or say to go into something with the intention of tricking somebody or misleading or anything of a negative connotation. But if that is your goal, I promise you're gonna have a better outcome if you go into it knowing your intentions. And I'd also think if you go into something knowing your intentions, that may change the way you look at that situation. It may change your even thinking about going into that situation, that conversation. And a lot of the places that I get this right now, and it really hit home at the spiritual retreat. Every meditation, every ceremony that we went into had come in with an intention. Set your intentions. Pray your intentions into your heart. Sit in those intentions before the event or the meditation or the ceremony started. Everything was about, what do you want out of this? What specifically are you hoping to achieve in this? I've worked on intentions before that, and I've had studies with other leaders and stuff about intentions, but it never really hit home until that weekend. And I would say hit home maybe the clarity of intentions and what they do for you and what they bring you. And I was reminded of this heavily today. So some of you might have heard me talk about cacao, which is the unrefined chocolate cocoa bean, right? It's cacao. And how using it, there's so many different benefits to it. There's spiritual benefits and there's health benefits. There's both sides of it. I've really come to love and enjoy cacao. You can buy it off Amazon. Again, I've spoken of this. It's not a drug. It has no illegal connotations to it. It does not make you hallucinate and, feel weird or anything. It's simply, well, I won't say it feels weird. Some people may, someone who I shared it with today, it's just not that spiritual kind of feeling and stuff like that. Even though this person is very spiritual in a Christianity sense, and that's what they practice, the feelings that they got were uncomfortable. Excuse me. And made them feel a little bit weird about it. And that's fine. Now, they did it. They went through the ceremony. And I'll talk a little bit about it. But another person that was in this with me, there's 5 of us total. This is my first time leading one on my own. And I spoke to everybody ahead of time of, okay, here's some of the benefits. I did some research, and Maria, the soul nurse, and I will publicize and get her name out there as much. She has been a very great resource for me. She's the one who introduced me to cacao. And she has a book. If anybody's interested in that, please hit me up. I will definitely get you connected with her. But the person that, I was working with the group, and I was talking ahead of time, okay, here's the benefits, here's the spiritual benefits, here's the physical benefits, which there are plenty of both. Basically the easy way to talk about it is it's a heart opener. That's the biggest one for me, is it just opens you up and gives you a sense, for me, different people but have different experience, but the one thing I will say is there's a lot of comments, and the people that have tried it and done it with me, or done it in the ceremonies with me that I was just a participant in, have very similar descriptions of what they felt, how they felt, and what it did for them. So it's a heart opener. It makes you just feel calm and peaceful and loving. There's more to it than that, but that is like one of the biggest euphoria kind of feelings that it gives you, and it just allows you to let things come in. Let more love, compassion, grace, and I use those three words specifically, and I'll get to that here in just a bit. So, before the ceremony, I just, had some music playing. I just explained to everybody, because this was all their first time. I was their first even introduction to cacao. They never heard of it. Obviously, everyone, I was just like, it's basically hot chocolate after you make it and stuff. It's not. It's unrefined. You add stuff to it, but again, to put it in very simple layman's terms, just so they could get their head right, like, it's literally the only ingredient is cacao. And after you make it, and depending on how you make it, it's just hot chocolate or cold chocolate if you make it that way. But anyhow, so I'm like, all right. So before we get started, here's what it's going to be like. Here's what you want to do. We're going to sit down. I'm going to start the music. I'm going to walk you through a breathing exercise. I am going to say a few words of prayer. And I'm going to invite you to breathe, connect with yourself, your heart, connect your heart to a higher power, whatever your higher power is, and just sit with that for a minute. Then I'm going to introduce intentions. I want you to think of what you want to get out of today, which is whether you want more love in your life, you want to have more forgiveness, you want to have more compassion, you want to relieve some pain. Whatever it is, make it personal, make it about yourself, nothing external. Not, I want to win the lottery, or I want this person to love me, I hope our relationship lasts forever. There's nothing bad with all that, but all the aesthetic things will come if you start working from a central point of within you. So again, so this is how it's going to go. Then we'll follow the music, and then at the end we'll do this. But so I wanted to sit there, and when it was over, one of the participants had a lot of clarity and something that they've been thinking about a lot lately. And again, I don't ask what. That is not my job, my goal. That is not my intention of leading these and introducing people to things of this nature. I am simply the guide. I am simply the coach, right? But it was her intention, and she spoke specifically of that. I didn't ask her intention. She didn't share her intention. I allow people to share what they want, how they want. That's up to them, and that's up to, if you're in things like that, that's your decision how much you want to share. And intentions are a great, great value. If you set forth with intentions, you will bring more of that into your life. If you're intentional about your intentions, if you will. And the one thing that I'll go back to the 3 words that I said: love, grace, and compassion. And I've spoken of that before on other episodes. I've written about all that prior to going on my retreat. I have, journaled, written. I have brought it up in different ways of other episodes, like meditation and grounding and all over the place. But that weekend, it really sunk in that all I truly want in my life is to have more love, more grace, and more compassion for myself. If I can have those 3 things in my life, and I can get them in abundance, then I can give and spread that more to others. And that's really where my base is. Yes, I have other intentions for my work, for my writing goals, for my podcasting goals, for my coaching and guide goals. Yes, I have intentions for those. But the one common base core intentions for me is to live and have more love, grace, and compassion. And ever since that sank in, and ever since that I have added cacao to my morning coffee, right, in ritual, the cacao-chino, I'm getting better at saying it, and I speak that intention before I go into it, I just start with a very, very, very blessed feeling and emotional state for the day. It doesn't mean my day doesn't go up and down and all around. It's life. It's the human experience. But I promise you that there's been things that have happened in my life where people share with me and come up to me that I don't know. There's been people in my life that have started sharing things with me and using me as a sounding board and things of that nature that has not happened on the level that it's happened on. And it's all that. Because if you have more love, grace, and compassion, and that's what you're giving yourself, people are going to notice. You're going to exude that. There's family members that I've been disconnected with, not close, but family members of marriages or things of that nature, that not by telling them what I'm doing, not by giving them, hey, look what I'm doing XXX, just by being present and having more of that in my life and being involved in theirs, the eye contact's coming back, the conversations are coming back, the hugs are coming back. And it all starts with intention. What do I want out of my life? So when I go into a conversation, what is my intention? It doesn't have to be every conversation. You're meeting the guys for coffee. Now you can, or your friends. I always say guys because it's the guys that I meet for coffee. You can have intentions on that. I have before, like, what do I want to get out of this conversation? There's times I say, dude, I just need to listen more. I need to quit trying to be the center of conversation or what have you, just for one example. I just need to listen more. Let them talk a little bit more, which I promise you, if you know my group, there's no shyness. There's no lack of words from any of us. So yes, you can go into different little situations like that with intentions. That's not a big deal at all. That's a great thing. But finding the intention of why you're doing things will change the way you do those things. That is a miracle in itself. If you go in with no intentions, and all you go in with, let's say you have a meeting coming up at work, and you're not looking forward to it. There's, it's going to be a hard conversation. There's a project not going great, what have you. Let's put ourselves in some kind of situation like that, to where we are building those conversations in our head before the meeting ever starts. And if I'm alone in this, I'd be shocked. But we think, oh, Steve, he's going to be doing this, and old Sally over here, she's going to, so I'm going to go back, and you have this whole conversation. You build up this whole meeting in your head before you even get into the meeting. So then that creates unknown intentions that you built without even knowing it. And you go into that situation just chest out. I know exactly how we're going to end up with this. Compared to if you sit down and understand, okay, I got this meeting tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock at this office with these people on that topic. Okay, what do I want to get out of this? I did this a week ago Friday into our regular Friday meeting. I want to find solutions. I don't want to be part of the problem. I don't want to be part of the noise. I don't want to be part of the complaining about other groups or other people not doing their things. My number one intention, was I want to find solutions. I want to be part of the solution. That Friday meeting went so different for me. When I left that meeting, I was so happy and joyous with how it went. I know there's times in the meeting, because there was a couple people who said things back to me, that if I would have went into that meeting any other way, instead of diffusing and trying to find solutions and just, hardlining or not being so easy approachable to speak to about topics, it could have went a whole different way. So intentions are one of the biggest building blocks you can have going into anything. And you have to be honest and curious with yourself. You don't have to go into a big, deep spiritual meditation. You can, you don't have to. However you want to do it, but you truly need to sit with yourself and just ask, okay, here's the situation. Here's the issue with that situation, or here's the hurdle with this situation. You don't have to make it necessarily negative, or here is the X with this situation. Here's the participants. Here are the participants. Here are the participants in this. It might just be one other. It might just be you. It might be you and the building of a spreadsheet for this, or the building of a PowerPoint for this, or whatever it is, okay? But if you sit down before you get into it and you build intentions and you're honest and you're curious with yourself, what are my intentions? What do I want to get out of that particular time frame and situation or event? What do I want to accomplish with these people? What do I want to accomplish with this conversation? I know you see where I'm going, but I really want to drill it in that just take every little scenario, get as much data as you can, put it into the little solution box, the little intention box, if you will. Throw all the data you can into that little intention box, and then sit with that box. Okay, I have all the information I need. This is what's happening. This is who's participating. Here's the time frame. Here's the this. Whatever it is. Okay. What do I want to get out of this? What do I hope is the end result of this talk, event, whatever? And it might take you a few different places, because some things are going to be a little bit more complex than others. just like everything is, right? Or you're setting a goal. Okay, like I'll use me for an example. All right, Cory, what do you want to do with your spirituality journey? What do you want to get out of your spiritual wellness journey? That has been a very big question from the start for me. And for the longest time, I'm not labeling it. I'm not doing this, doing all that kind of stuff. It's okay to label it. And it came to me fine. Like, okay, I want to help others. First, I have to help myself. That has to be the number one intention. That's the core and the base. The love, grace, and compassion. And that's where all that comes from. And if I can do that, no matter the goal, no matter if it's, okay, I want to be independent, financially independent. I want to work for myself. I want to write a book. I want to do a podcast. Pick it. There has to be a personal core intention. Then it's a lot easier to take that, okay, if that's my core and that's my intention, for everything that I look at, then I can go into a situation and build aesthetic intentions. Okay, I want my book I want it to do this. I want it to take me to this place. I want to publish. I want to be, top selling book in the nation, whatever. Okay. Then as you're creating that goal and as you're working towards that goal, you can always stop and say, am I doing this for my core intentions? Or is this an action built on the aesthetic intentions? And if I can say, okay, it's built on the aesthetic, but maybe not the core, it's probably not going to be successful. So you can build building blocks of intentions, but you have to find your core values. You have to find the core values that you are putting into your life that have intentions for the way you want to act and be as a human being. At base value, then I go into a relationship. Is this relationship meeting my core values? Not just from that person to me, but me to that person. Am I treating them with the love, grace, and compassion that I am giving myself? Or am I giving it in a way that hurts me or hurts them or is manipulative or is just not true to myself or them? In every situation, you can come down to that intention and where it's coming from and what you're trying to get out of it. But you have to sit down and you have to be honest and curious to yourself. And through that, like I said, at the retreat, that's came to me and I've really started building on that. Then, okay, if this is what you want to be, so let's just talk the wellness coach part. That's a big one to me because I like one-on-ones with people. I like sitting down and having conversations and learning more. Okay, so if you're going to do this, then what are your intentions? And I practiced it today after the ceremony. A few of us went and had breakfast. All right, so I'm just sitting there and I'm like talking to myself, hey, listen more. That's always one of my intentions with everybody at all conversation is to listen more. Be curious. You're not learning if you're talking. Right? Like this is not, yes, am I getting something out of it, but am I necessarily learning? It's embedding some things that I've learned in, but I'm not having a conversation back and forth where I'm learning about my audience. The way I learn about my audience is your DMs, your messages, your comments, your reaching out. That's how I learn about my audience. So there is that conversation in that. So I'm listening. And then be authentically you. And that's a little off topic with the intention thing, but I found myself today having a very deep spiritual conversation with two people and I asked one, hey, would you have ever thought you would be ever sitting down with me having this kind of a conversation? quote, "Not in a million years." And it just like, that takes me back to the intentions of all of this. Why I'm on this spiritual journey. Why I want to get out of it. And once you start being curious with yourself and start asking questions of yourself, then that's going to turn and you're going to start asking it of others and being intentional with your questions and your curiosity. And then you're really going to start having the learning process. And then you're going to ask questions. And as long as it's coming from, for me, love, grace, and compassion, then it's not judgment of them. It's just, okay, how do you see that? And several times. Then there was one where, and the two that were with me know each other much better than I know each one of them individually. Like, they spend a lot of time together. They're awesome together. There was a statement made, and by questions that I was asking, and the one like, well, I've never heard that before. That's a new one. And it was like, there we go. Now we're learning. And then I heard a couple comments of, wow, I love hearing you talk like this. This is great. Like, and we're sitting in the middle of a breakfast restaurant. And at one time I caught myself like, because it got emotional a couple times. Like, I am sorry for doing this here. I did not mean to take this here, but I did. And looking back at it, that was going against my intention. It shouldn't matter where you're at. It shouldn't matter if the table next to you sees you crying or whatever. It was a good conversation. It was peaceful. It was loving. It was sharing of viewpoints, and it was denominational. It was non-denominational. It was how we view heaven and hell and God and Jesus and all aspects of just life. And I didn't mean to have that conversation, whether it was there or anywhere else. Yes, that's what I love doing. That's what I want to do. And I found myself apologizing for it because I wanted to ease my pain, or I wanted to ease my uncomfortableness. Let's say it that way, right? The judgment of oh, people are looking at us for this or that, or it wasn't for them. It was to ease me. So I got right back into it and just said, no, we're here. We're having this conversation. Let's have a blast. Let's do this. And we sat for hours. We closed the breakfast place down, which used to be, close the bar down. Well, we closed the breakfast place down today. But intentions, guys, they are a tool like no other. They are giving. They are knowledge. They are acceptance. They're understanding. They are freeing of expectations. They free you of that built-in anxiety of, oh, this is going to go this way. Well, then if you're in the middle of that and it starts going this way, you have a very hard time. I have a very hard time. All of a sudden, okay, I was going here, and we're over here now. And it's like, okay, how do I get in that? Because now, one, everybody in that arena with you is like, dude, why are you coming? You're over here. And now it's a butting of heads, or a butting of conversation, or just a misunderstanding of where it could be. So if you would go in with the intentions of always being curious, always trying to have understanding of where others are coming from, which then might change the understanding in the viewpoints of yourself. And then you can start seeing from other people's eyes, and then you're going to have compassion, because once you can see from other people's eyes, compassion comes out naturally, because then you can see, oh, I see how you're seeing that. I'm sorry if I made you feel that way, or hey, let's find a solution for that. That's simple then. Whatever that situation is, if you go in with your core intentions always at heart, your core values, if you will, and then the intention of that situation of, okay, whatever it is, All the W's. What, when, why, where, who, and then the hows. So I have this whole little theory about the W's, is what I call it. You find the W's, you find the how, you find more W's under that how, you find another how, you find more W's under that how, you find another how. That's the process that I believe everything comes from, or every process follows, or everything that you build upon comes from that. If you can honestly sit down and find out what, when, why, where, who. You don't need all of them necessarily. Different situations call for different things. And then once you find those, then you're, okay, so how do we accomplish this? Oh, okay. So then you take the how and you take the W's all over again. Okay, here's the how. So I need to listen more. Okay, what do I need to do to listen more? Who do I need to listen to more? All these things, and you can just keep building the processes. And I'll just use that one little simple example, but you can do it at work. You can use it with everything. It's a building block process thing that I've developed over time, and I believe in it. It's not 100%, but it's pretty accurate. And it really helps me with a lot of things. But if you go in with your core values, and then you go in secondary with, okay, the exact situation, the exact event, the exact goal, the exact blah, and you find intentions specifically for that moment, not the anticipation or expectation of, okay, well, if they say this, I'm going to say this, and if they do this, well, I'm going to do this. No. Be in the moment, be curious, listen, be solution minded, and if you build your intentions and be intentional with your intentions around all of that, I strongly believe your life and everything in it will just flow a little bit better, and I think a lot better. But even if it's just a little bit better, isn't that a win? If it causes you less pain and less strife and less heartache and less arguments and less worry and lots of things, less of negative anything is a win. And at the end of it, you might get more joy and pleasure out of that event or that part of life or whatever it is. That's a real win. But less negativity of anything is a win. Intentions help you take out expectations. Intentions help you build curiosity. Intentions help you break down walls. Because even if someone else in the meeting or whatever it is doesn't have their intentions set up and stuff, and you can feel that because you're listening, you're curious, okay, take a breath. And then you work on yours and you come from your intention in your place. Eventually their walls are going to start breaking down. Remember, we talked about walls versus boundaries a while back. It'll start breaking all that down. Intentions are a tool in the toolbox that need developed, that need constant sharpening, constant cleansing. Your intentions need to be revisited and well cared for. Your intentions can't be something you just throw in your toolbox and never look at it again until all of a sudden, hey, I need more compassion. And you pull that compassion out and it's got rust on it and it squeaks and maybe it's just not fully structured anymore. It's a little bit bent because it's been under all these other tools for so long. All those expectations and all those weird worries and fears and everything else, if you don't have your intentions out in front of all that, your intentions are going to fade to the back. And when you need them, and you really know you need them, and you need them the most, they're going to be a little bit corrupted. They're going to be a little bit unoiled, and they're going to need massaged, and they're going to need fed again, and they're going to need to be put to the forefront. So I encourage you to keep your intentions in front of you, to keep your intentions in your daily life, I suggest to speak your core intentions, or pray your core intentions, or meditate your core intentions every morning, every night, but every morning, to get that in your head, to start every day. Just like people say, hey, if you write down your goals and you read them every day, you're 7 times, I believe is what it says, 7 times more likely to reach them. Okay, it's the same kind of a concept. But your goals are not going to be reached if you don't have your core intentions aligned, if you don't have your core values aligned. They're just not. You might reach some, but others are gonna crumble, and then once one part crumbles, they all crumble. So I strongly believe in your core intentions and your core values being the number one tool of your life, and taking them wherever you go, and doing everything that you do with the understanding of, okay, if they're not meeting my core values, my core intentions, I probably got to look at that again. I probably need to think about that a little bit more. So I've had a great weekend. I've had a great day. Let's say that. The weekend's been here and there, but today was great. I've learned a lot over the last week about a certain situation in my life and the people involved in that certain situation. It took me a few days. It was after Thanksgiving. If you've been listening and following my morning minutes and my evening calms and different things, you've heard me talk about this, and it took me a few days. And I put my intentions in front of it finally. And I'm good with my decision. I know where I'm at. I know exactly how I'm going to handle that situation going forward, and I am at peace with it. So that gave me the ability to do what I did today. And, tomorrow's another day. I got to start all over again, and I'll just keep working on it. So core values, core intentions, be intentional with everything you do. It's a value that has no price. It will reward you with so much, and it will keep so much pain and expectations and I want to use the word failure. I'm trying to think of the word right now. It's just not coming to me, but it will just keep all that negative stuff at a very low roar, if not at all. Especially the expectations and the curving of situations in a negative way. So intentions, y'all. Be intentional with your intentions. I can't say that one enough. And just keep focusing on it every day. All right, so more writing's going to be coming out. I didn't get a lot to it today. I was traveling yesterday. I spent the night outside of my home and with people. So anytime I do that, guys, I'm going to be as present with anybody that I can at the time. My social media and my everything else can come second. No, I still meditate. I still do that kind of stuff. But when it comes to my work part of all this, that can take second hand to this. And depending on what I'm doing, but especially when I'm with people that I love and care about and things like that, I'm going to set all that aside and just do what I need to do for me and them in that situation, because that follows my core values. That follows my core intentions. And that's important to me. So after today, end of November, a lot of my streaming services and TV and all that is getting shut down, because if I'm going to do this, I need to get into it. I haven't made it yet. I haven't accomplished a lot of things I do, and I need to take as many distractions out of my life as I can. Plus, it's a good financial remembrance to see like how much I actually spend on that nonsense. It's a good reminder of that. So multiple reasons for doing that, but the main one, I need to get on the website. I need to get working on that. I need to, and I say this to you all because I want to hold myself accountable. So that way people can come back, and say, hey man, you said a week ago you're really going to get into this. Where is it? I need to start working on a few other things. My writing, right? I need to start getting my writing out. I'm writing a little bit more every day. My first short story is really coming together. I want to get that finished here soon so I can start editing it and putting it together. And there's just a lot of things that I want to get accomplished. I need to get back on my physical journey. After the retreat, I didn't work out as well. I went as much as I could every day, but as I told you guys, I just, my body wasn't there, my mind wasn't there. So my physical has went down just a touch. I mean, just a few pounds, but it's in my head, and I need to get back on that. Change my eating style again. No pork, no certain things. I'm taking dairy for the most part out of my life, and just different things like that. There's a lot of things that I need to get back to my intentions of why I'm doing all this. And if I'm going to be in a holistic wellness journey and be a holistic wellness coach and guide, then I need to get my wellness holistic. In a goofy kind of way to say it. So, hey guys, I really appreciate everything. Keep looking out. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube is at Cory J. Riggs, CoryJRiggs. The website is the same spelling, CoryJRiggs.com. And I do have Buzzsprout is where I put all my podcasts, and that pushes it out to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and if you want to watch the video of it, that's always going to be on YouTube. And Amazon should be coming soon. It looks like it's going to get done here, so I'll get all those put together. I got my first vision of my artwork for the podcast. Zach's doing a great job at it. I picked one. We kind of tweaked a few things. He's going to be sending me some more options here in just a bit, so that should be getting out there pretty soon. Just a lot of exciting things. And I'm grateful and blessed for everything that comes to me, as long as that I understand that my core value, my core intentions, and everything has to be the heart of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the more that I do that, the more these people and the more things just show up in my life. Like, where did that come from? And it's just phenomenal. So I really hope that you continue on this journey with me, and at minimum just continue on a good, healthy spiritual wellness journey for yourself. I would love to be a part of it. Keep interacting with me. The more you help, the more I help, right? It's a pull and push, a give and take, right? I love to hear from you guys, because it gives me the understanding of, okay, let's keep going down this road. Oh, we might need to turn a corner here, what have you. It's a growth process for me as well, and I just love doing it. I absolutely have joy in doing this and helping people, and even the people I talked to today that I never thought I would have that experience today. I hope they gained something out of it. I hope they learned something. I hope they looked at something a little bit differently. Not trying to ever change anybody's mind or do this, but let's just have a conversation and try to see things from each other's viewpoint. Maybe then we can look at things a little bit differently with more love, grace, and compassion. Those are mine. I hope you can find yours. And let's make the world a better place. So, once again, I am Cory J. Riggs. This is This Tree in Me, and we are talking intentions today. And a reminder to be intentional with your intentions. I love you all. Be blessed.